All right, everybody. It's October the 27th, 2020. This is the absent video for folks that missed out on today's lesson. We're going to kind of pick up in the middle of chapter 2, lesson 2, kind of where we left off. When I left off, we had just got through talking about smooth ER, which we're going to pick up right there. And we're going to kind of pick up the definitions from there on through. What you need to be doing though is here. Let me kind of show. Let me open up another Google Classroom. Chapter 2, lesson 2 review is due tomorrow by 3:30, and on each one of the classes you can see here where it's located. Now, what's very nice about these is if you are in third period and you click on that right there, it's going to take you to it. And so it's going to show you automatically here who all has turned it in and who hasn't. But what you need to do is you need to make sure that your chapter 2, lesson 2 review sheet is completed and turned in before 3:30 on Thursday, the 28th. Okay, at 3:30. All right. So today you need to do your warm-up, you need to watch the video, you need to listen to the directions that I'm about to show you as I go through the textbook with you, and you need to get chapter 2, lesson 2 completed and turned in. So let's get to the textbook. All right. When we left off the other day, here's the warm-up, by the way. In eukaryotes, where will you find genetic material? All right. So, we talked about eukaryotes, prokaryotes. The genetic material is just floating around in a prokaryotic cell. So where is it found in a eukaryotic cell? Pretty basic stuff right there. All right. So I'm going to pick up with number 42 because just in case you didn't get rough ER. Okay. I'm going to start with rough ER. All right, so in this paragraph right here, it talks about rough ER. And rough ER is the site of protein production. In other words, rough ER, and this is rough ER, and if you look, you can see that it's dotted with ribosomes, and ribosomes is what makes proteins. So since it's covered with these ribosomes, that is what creates rough ER, and proteins are made in these areas right here. All right, so now let's come up with another color. Smooth ER is next. Now this is number 15 on your notes at the bottom of this page. Okay, and you should already have it. So that's why I didn't stop for rough ER. You should already have smooth ER, but if you don't, then hit pause. Smooth ER is important because it helps remove harmful substances from the cell. Now hit pause if you don't have either one of those two and get yourself caught up. All right. All living things must have energy in order to survive. Okay. And that includes every living thing. Everything must have energy in order to survive. Well, in order to survive, your cells have to have energy themselves. Okay. So what is it that creates this energy for cells? Well, they are called mitochondria. Okay. And the definition for mitochondria is located. Let me get a little bit different color here. Let's see. Mitochondria, right? And here it is. Let me make sure this is it. Yes. Mitochondria is right here. Mitochondrial energy is released during chemical reactions that occur in the mitochondria. There you go. That is your definition for mitochondria. This energy that your cells need comes from mitochondria. And mitochondria, here, let's take a real quick look here. This right here is a plant cell. This is a eukaryotic cell because it's got a nucleus. All right. And if you'll notice right here, these blue things are mitochondria. And mitochondria is where energy is created for the cell. Let's take a look at an animal cell. You'll notice that here is a mitochondria, and here is a mitochondria, and here is a mitochondria. These are where cells create energy. All right. Let me get rid of my face here. All right. So, um, in cells, in your mitochondria, you'll also notice that now this isn't a definition, but I am going to point out the word or the ATP, which is the energy that is created, and ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate, and basically this is the energy that is created in order to give your cells fuel to go. Okay. Now, why does the cell need energy? Well, because the cell has got to do things like grow, and it's got to perform tasks like cell division, and it must be able to move things around on the inside of it. So it's got to be able to move around or transport materials on the inside of it. Now, another thing that's real important for energy in cells, especially in the plant cell, are these things right here, and these items right here are called chloroplasts. All right. So the next definition is chloroplast. And by the way, where do you find chloroplasts? Well, I just told you this right here is a plant cell. You can find them also in things that are called protists. And this is a type of protist right here. And notice that it's awfully green on the inside. Well, the green is chloroplast, and that's how it makes food for itself. Okay. Um, this is a protist. It is a one-celled living organism that likes to live in fresh water. If you go running through a pond or a ditch, you're running in and amongst these things. So, all right. So, what is the definition for chloroplast? All right. Chloroplast are membrane-bound organelles that use light energy and food sugar called glucose from water and carbon dioxide in a process known as photosynthesis. Chloroplasts are membrane-bound organelles that use light energy and make food, a sugar called glucose, from water and carbon dioxide in a process known as photosynthesis. All right, hit pause and type that in. All right, so chloroplasts are real important because they help plants make their own food. They help protists make their own food and through a process that is called photosynthesis. We'll get to photosynthesis in a more detailed discussion later on. All right, now as we scroll on down a little bit, we're going to see something right here that is called the Golgi apparatus. All right, the Golgi apparatus. And what the Golgi apparatus does is it prepares proteins, and right here, prepares proteins for their specific jobs or functions. In other words, it gets these proteins ready to do whatever it is that the proteins are going to do. So hit the pause button and type that in. Okay, so the Golgi apparatus, it can store things, and as it stores things like proteins, it will prepare them to for whatever the jobs are that they're going to be within the cell. And remember, the cell has all kinds of jobs going on inside of it at one time. So these proteins are prepared inside the Golgi bodies, and so that they can do whatever job it is that they're going to be doing inside the cell. Well, something that usually hangs out real close to the Golgi body is something that is called a vesicle. Okay, and a vesicle right here. Vesicles are organelles that transport substances from one area of the cell to another area of the cell. Vesicles are organelles that transport substances from one area of the cell to another area of the cell. Hit pause and type that in. All right, vesicles. That basically it hangs out next to the Golgi body, and it can move various things around inside the cell wherever it's needed. So let's say if something is created or processed on one side of the cell, it can be moved into a vesicle, and it can be moved to another part of the cell. All right. The next word is lysosome. Lysosomes contain substances that help break down and recycle cellular components. In other words, you can hit stop here in just a second. You can hit pause in just a second. A lysosome contains substances that helps to break down and recycle cellular components. And what that means is if there's something in the cell that's not doing its job, if an organelle is older and it's not able to perform its functions the way that it's supposed to, then the lysosome will digest and get rid of this organelle and make room for a new organelle to be able to come in and take its place. So lysosomes are real important. They are very, very important for a cell to make room and to clear things out that aren't working properly anymore. Now, also located inside the cell is something that is called a vacuole. Okay, and vacuoles are organelles that store food, water, and waste material. Vacuoles are organelles that store food, water, and waste material. Okay, hit pause and type that in. Okay, so vacuoles are basically storage areas inside of a cell, and food, water, wastes can be put there. Here's a vacuole right here in an animal cell. And by the way, here are lysosomes moving around, looking to devour something. In a plant cell, let's see, we've got a lysosome right here. And here's the vacuole in a plant. Now, notice how much bigger it is in a plant than it is in an animal cell. Okay. Well, why is that? Well, remember, plants can't get up and go to the kitchen when they're hungry. So what plants have to do is when a plant has a bright sunshiny day, it has to make food in the chloroplast. And as the food is created in the chloroplast, it can be stored in a vacuole for days like today when it's rainy and cloudy. Or let's say at night when the sun goes down and the plant can no longer make food, well, it still needs energy. And so it can go to the vacuoles then for food and water because water can be stored there. And there can also be waste products that are stored there. And right here is a vacuole that might have waste product in it, and it's heading towards the cell membrane so that it can get rid of whatever the waste product. That's what could be in that vacuole. I have no idea what. It looks like this vacuole is empty, but let's put waste product all inside of here. Okay, so what happens is the cell could then move the vacuole to the cell membrane, and an opening be made here, and all of this exit out this way. Okay, so that's how a vacuole works. Usually plant cells has one really big vacuole, and animal cells can have multiple vacuoles for storage reasons. So those are the definitions. I'm not sure if I covered eukaryotic cells or not. Eukaryotic and organelle. So I may have covered those and then I may not have. So let me get rid of this and let's hate it when I do that. Click there. All right, let's scroll down again. All right. Okay, eukaryotic cells. Now, this is on your review sheet, number 54. All right, let me pick out a bright red. Let's go with bright red. All right, what is a eukaryotic cell? Eukaryotic cell has genetic material that is surrounded by a membrane. All right, kind of messed up right there. Let me straighten that up a little bit so that you can read it. All right, let's go back to this. All right, man, I cannot go straight today. All right, a eukaryotic cell has genetic material that is surrounded by a membrane. In other words, there's a nucleus in a eukaryotic cell. Whereas in prokaryotic cells, like this right here, there's no nucleus. This DNA is just lumped up in here, and usually that's a bacteria. Prokaryotic cells do not have a nucleus. Eukaryotic cells do have a nucleus. And another word that we need to get is prokaryote. All right. Or I'm sorry, organelles. Okay. So what is an organelle? Organelles, which have specialized functions, most organelles are surrounded by membranes. In other words, organelles are things that sit inside of a cell and do all these different jobs that I've just got through talking about. Organelle right there. Organelle. 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 All of these things are organelles. Organelle. Organelle. These are various things that do different jobs inside the cell. All right. So that brings us to an end. You now have all of the definitions. Now, what you need to make sure that you do is you need to make sure that you get all of you need to make sure that this right here that I just clicked on is complete. Chapter 2, lesson 2. And you need to make sure that this thing is turned in to me by tomorrow at 3:30. And it's been listed on Google Classroom for just about a week now. And in fact, I've delayed you turning it in several days because of me being gone and absent. So anyway, so make sure you get this thing complete. It is for a grade. I hope you have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya.